Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 234, cracking up the episodes. I have to keep trying to remember, when I sort of promote the podcast to people, I keep having to go, how many hours have we actually done? Oh yeah, it's the UK's number one rated show and we've done 200 hours. Basically, we've done a lot. And the Fox is with me today, and the Fox, what a journey it's been so far.
It has, and I'm currently in Dubai. So, I'm a world traveler, and that's one of my biggest things. Like, it's funny, people think like, oh, Rachel's passion must be fitness, and of course, like, health is one of my big passions, but travel is certainly up there. So, yeah, currently in Dubai for a month. So, hello from the desert. Well, the former desert. It's not really desert anymore here.
Yeah, there's a lot more there than the desert. I'm a big fan of Dubai. It always gets very mixed opinions. I'm not sure I could live there. I don't know. But I do like going on holiday there because there's just a lot to do. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. There's a lot of amazing restaurants, theme park. It's intense.
It is. I have to say, I haven't been here in the summer, and I hear it's very brutal in the summer. So I come off on the other times of the year. So yeah, I love Dubai. It's awesome. It's like kind of like my second home. My family's in Abu Dhabi, about an hour up the road. So yeah, big fan of the Middle East. Well, so hello to everybody in Dubai.
Yes, hello you Middle Eastern. I should be in the Middle East more in the spring. I'm currently trying to work out a tour route and people to help me on the tour, but I should be in the UAE more in the spring of 2017 to do a load of seminars, which should be good. I will also be doing more seminars in the UK for personal trainers. Early in the UK, we are running a personal trainer development series where I will get on the road and we'll be doing small, intensive stuff for PT, so look out for that. And to give people an update on my book, it is literally currently flowing out of my brain. It's nearly done as of recording this podcast. How to Become an Awesome Personal Trainer is nearly written, and I'm very excited because I've literally written this book in 2 weeks, which is very fast, but when you're that passionate and something's been stored up inside you for so long, it just pours out. And I've just written, and 30,000 words later, it's pretty much done.
Very exciting. Well, let's record this podcast then, so you can get back to your book.
Yeah, why not? Right, let's go, Miss Guy.
Okay, so hi Ben. We spoke very briefly on Wednesday, the 2nd of November, for the first live Pure Gym BTN Foundation Academy seminar calls. And since then, I've been peppering my brain more with your podcasts more than I would usually do. I just wanted to say how awesome that I think your work is, and I feel like I've finally found a good communicator whose knowledge translates very well into my practice. Aside from me letting you know your great level of awesomeness, I do actually have a question. One of my long-term goals is to run a national tour of educating communities on how they can achieve good health and a good quality of life. Ideally, the target demographic would be people from low-income backgrounds, as I feel there's a worrying belief that if you do not have money, you can't be healthy. What I wanted to ask you was, from your experience of traveling and doing your thing and educating others, do you think that in order for there to be more consistent positive changes in people's lives from that demographic, that a tour like this one that I aim to plan in the future would involve spending weeks, maybe months at a time within every community? Realistically, I don't think a one-day intensive would cut it for the amount of impact I want to have. I can't help but feel so scared about the current statistics of obesity in the UK by 2020 unless something is done. I'm not saying that it's my goal of this tour I'm not saying that my goal of this tour will work either. I have no idea, and I alone cannot change that figure. And I know I'm not Wonder Woman. Either that will have an epic battle with obesity and single-handedly achieve world peace / happiness, and vice versa. Wow, that was a long sentence. All I know now is that I want to try and empower and educate as many people as possible and contribute in a positive way as much as I can. I feel like what is maybe missing is actually spending time to educate people, rather than telling them what the next best thing is to keep them active, like the TV infomercials do. So in a nutshell, to have a bigger impact in uneducated communities, there's a much longer period? Do you think a much longer period of time to ensure positive changes are maintained is required, or is there a simpler solution to achieving your book? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks, Rianne.
So this is interesting, and I think the reason why I put this question in the podcast, because it's quite personal to Rianne, and it's not actively helping lots of people that listen to this podcast, but people that get into health and fitness and people that are inspired and passionate about health and fitness, like I am, like Rachel is, like many of you are that listen to this podcast, you are often thinking in the back of your minds, how could I help other people? Like, if I had the opportunity to just help 5, 10, maybe 500 people improve their health and make a dent on obesity, I probably would. So I've had a lot of people come to me and ask me about community projects, what they can do in schools, what they can do in their work environments, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's an amazing thing to do. And if more people could make small little impacts, small little dents, small little pushes of informations in the right area, we could start to see a shift. And obviously we're trying to battle with all the shit information out there, like all the people selling shakes and people that claim they're things when they're not. That is another battle and argument in and of itself. But I think the thing that I want people to understand, and what I want Rianne to understand, is that the reason why the general population struggle to change is, well, it's many reasons. It's lack of education, it's lack of willingness to a degree, because a lot of health and fitness people make it look alienating to be fit and healthy, so that's a big problem. And their accessibility to that information, like there is tons of information out there, but these days if something isn't completely in front of someone in the easiest possible way to use, they probably won't use it. Hence, so much of what we're doing is now on our phones, iPhones, apps. It's literally in front of us. If we have to go hunting for it, we are likely not going to do it. So a little bit of kind of an example. When I first started doing seminars in about 2012 going into 2013, I tried to do seminars for both personal trainers and the general population. Seminars for personal trainers went down really well because personal trainers are eager to learn and they want to improve the way that they, how good they are at their job. General public, it was a very hard sell. Now these days, if I advertise a talk, it's a bit easier to sell my seminar to a member of the general public because there is a lot more motivated people following my work. So I might do a seminar now and there might be 50% personal trainers, 50% general public, because the motivation level is different. I've maybe helped change that motivation level. There is now a hunger for knowledge. So if you look at the most desperate communities that need help around the UK, places that have the highest obesity rates, the lowest income families, all that kind of stuff, there is kind of a theme. There is a type of person, and they're probably not willing to pay even £10 to come to a seminar to learn about nutrition. So somehow I think the only way these things can get funded is if people are genuinely doing it out of their own heart, that they are putting on free little talks. Like I might go and do a talk for all the parents at my local rugby club. You might go and do a talk for a wives group up your local community hall or something. The only way that this could maybe get funded on a bigger level is if more trainers or more people that were passionate about it actually approached the government and said, I would like £10,000 off you, and for that £10,000 I'm going to visit 30 communities over 30 days, and that £10,000 is going to go towards my travel, food and accommodation to go on a tour, let's say around a certain county, and deliver a seminar on a particular topic, food, health, whatever. And you'd be amazed at how much money there is actually at a government level to do these kind of things, but they don't have the people willing to do it. They don't have the inventiveness. And when I was at university, I used to help try and create these projects in line with one of the local sports teams. And the only reason I stopped doing it is because I got cheated out a lot of my ideas. I created a lot of ideas for the local council, and someone took over my ideas and took them as their own. And at that point, I vowed that I would never do contracted government work again. So I think there's an awful lot of opportunity out there, but I think you have to bear in mind that the people that need the most help are the people that are most willing not to pay for the help.
This is a conversation like, as fitness professionals, I think we have all of the time. And I think the biggest thing, and I think this is why someone like Joe Wicks has done very well, is because he's made things very simple and accessible to everybody. Joe Wicks has got, all of his body weight exercises and things like that. And, I think from a fitness professional perspective, I think a lot of what we do is so idealistic, and you should go to the gym, you should lift weights 4 times a week, you should do X amount of cardio per week, you must have lean organic meats 6 meals a day, or 4 meals a day, whatever it is, whatever the trainer's thing is. But the reality is that it's step by step. And this kind of brings me back to when I was living in Australia. There was this big uproar on social media. Obviously, it was one of the Biggest Loser trainers recommended to one of his clients on the Biggest Loser that instead of eating ice cream for breakfast, that this family had Weet-Bix and milk and skim milk for breakfast. And there was this big uproar in the fitness industry of, oh, well, that's such a shit breakfast to have. Why is this, this Biggest Loser trainer advocating that somebody should have Weet-Bix and skim milk for breakfast? And what we have to look at here is the degree of change. Now, we're taking a family who is grossly overweight and obese and very uneducated. If we try and tell that family that they've got to have steak and vegetables for breakfast, it's going to go completely over their heads. It's just not within their realm of comprehension. Now, so we have to do this in degrees. So, even something like porridge for breakfast, oats and maybe some whole milk for breakfast is perhaps a step too far. So getting somebody who's currently eating ice cream for breakfast, I kid you not, ice cream for breakfast, to then getting them to eat Weet-Bix and skim milk, surely that is better than the alternative. So we have to look at this as a step-by-step gradated approach. Now, we can't get that, somebody who is, grossly overweight, already has so much shame around them, why should we shame them even more into giving them a nutrition plan or some nutritional ideas that are completely out of their budget, they're completely out of their comfort zone, and it's something that is just unsustainable and unattainable for them at that stage. That's not to say in 6 months' time that we can't have them eating oats for breakfast after they've been for a walk. They might be having a higher protein breakfast and eggs for breakfast later in 6 months' time, but right now, let's just do the minimal effective dose to elicit some form of change. If trainers out there, if you're working with people who are very overweight, I'm talking like, people who've got in excess of 40, 50 kilos to lose, get people walking, like get them doing something, when I say to, a lot of my very, very overweight clients, I've actually stopped them from training because the stress response that they get from training and that the feeling of being so sore from going to the gym, they're so tired all of the time. Sometimes just being able to walk 5,000 steps a day is a massive achievement. And it might be 5,000 steps on week 1. It might be 5,500 on week 2. It might be 6,000 on week 3. It doesn't matter. It is just some form of progress. And I think we just have to stop this fat shaming. And that goes as far as telling people, oh, well, you should be eating this. Because it might be a graduated and a gradated approach towards what we as fitness professionals class as normal. For somebody else, it's completely abnormal. So, step by step.
Yep. Boom.
There we go. Next. Okay, so this question is from Suzy. Hi, Ben and Rachel. I know everyone says this, but your podcast is amazing. I really like how honest and approachable you both are, and I need this to help me. I wanted to ask for your help or advice. I was 120 kilos at 5'6" 4 years ago, and then over a year I got down to 68 kilos through counting calories and exercising 5 times a week, including weight training. Over the past 2 years, I've completed my physics PhD, broken up with a long-term boyfriend, and moved countries to start my new job. I'm assuming that from this stress, that is the reason that I'm now 86 kilos. I'm starting to count calories again, and I'm going to counselling to deal with emotional problems from my childhood. I've recently finished the ISSN diploma for applied sports and exercise nutrition. I know about nutrition, and I have PT sessions every week for the last 3 months. I exercise 5 to 6 times a week, sometimes more, and I do a combination of circuits, spin, and body combat. For some reason, with good nutrition knowledge and good amounts of training, the weight is not shifting. I'm trying to be vegan Monday to Friday to reduce calories, and then on the weekends allow meat or dairy depending on my tummy. As like Rachel, I suffer from IBS. Although from the stress, my IBS is flaring up a lot in the past year. I'm wondering if I need to give my body a chance to calm down and de-stress from all of the change. Go harder and restrict my calories more. Currently 1900 to 2000 calories a day. I know that I suffer from restrictive eating syndrome, where I restrict, and then on the weekends or holidays I eat more. I'm trying to solve this through meditation, counselling, and working on why I want to eat. I had a thyroid test last year and it was on the lower edge of normal. I feel stuck and I'm not sure what more to do. I want to weigh less and know that I can, and I feel like my body is resisting. Thank you for your help and advice. Thank you for any help and advice you can give me, Suzy.
So I want to pass on a little bit of advice that I mention in all of my seminars, and not many people pay attention because people just want progress all the time. But the thing is, you can't have progress if you are not skilled enough or you're not mentally ready enough for multiple areas of your life. I can, who's someone in a good place in their life, look to improve my diet, my training, my mindset, and other things because I'm in a good place and I'm educated enough to be able to manage all those different things. For someone that is not as educated or not in a place where they have the capacity to develop in multiple areas, it's very, very, very hard to diet when you are stressed. When your body is not in a good place, mentally, emotionally, physically, the number one priority has to be on your health. It has to be. You cannot give your health a disservice. So I tell people, if you are currently going through a bad relationship breakup, if you're going through a job change, if you are mentally not in a good place, there's a lot of shifts happening in your life, do not try and diet, because dieting puts you in a compromised capacity. You don't have as many calories to feel good. If you're exercising, you're going to be inhibiting your calories, your blood sugar level is going to be harder to maintain. Everything is more difficult on a diet. Hence, ask anyone that is dieted to a really lean condition before. Ask a bodybuilder who's dieted to a really lean condition. Ask Rachel, when you get to those last 3 or 4 weeks, everything's a bit tougher. Work's a bit tougher. Shopping for food's a bit tougher. Everything, because your mental capacity is reduced. So I just want to ensure that everyone listening to this podcast, if you're in a place right now and you're trying to change key things in your lifestyle, if it is move house, change jobs, change relationship, get it all boxed off. Get it done. Maintain your health. Know that the priority right now is to nourish you as a person, where you are physically and mentally, and to get to a place where you feel secure and happy, and then diet. Now, don't get me wrong. Dieting is going to lead to a certain amount of happiness because that's going to play into you being more self-confident, and feeling good about yourself. But the priority is get to a place where you have the capacity to push yourself on a diet. So I think Suzy needs to ensure that she's gone through this process of getting the counselling and she feels mentally strong and ready. And everyone should know, honestly, deep down when that point is. Most people know when they are in a good place and they're feeling good and can handle another one of life's challenges. When you're honest with yourself and you can't, you need to stand back and say, right, I just need to get myself back to me, and then let's push myself when I'm in a good place. So Suzy, I think there's things that I could go on about. Like, it seems like you're not tracking your calories at the weekend. You're trying to be one thing during the week and something else on the weekend. And I just think for you, you need to get safe and secure in your lifestyle. You need to get emotionally healthy. And then I think you will have the rational clarity to do what is needed with your diet, because it already sounds like you are a very intelligent nutritionist. It sounds like you've done an awful lot in terms of nutrition. Sounds like you don't need my help. But what I think you're struggling with is because your body and your mind is not in a place where it is rationally ready to take on a weight loss journey.
I agree. I'm just going to add a few more points here. And Suzy, this might come across as quite tough, but if you're one of my clients, the first thing I would say is stop bullshitting yourself, because I think you know deep down that you don't gain 18 kilos just from stress. So, you know, what you're currently doing is not working for you, so things need to change. So there's a few things that I'm going to pick up on here. Things like I'm going to counselling to deal with emotional problems from my childhood. Great, that's good. But when it comes to psychology, like, the past doesn't matter. What we need to do now is just be mindful of the fact that some practitioners will want to talk about what's happened in the past to a greater degree and a greater level. Now, that isn't going to help solve how you deal with this now moving on in the future. So what you actually need to do is learn to manage your state moving forward and actually learn how to create more life-enhancing experiences through different forms of therapies and counselling. So, you know, with your counselling and your meditation that you're doing now, hopefully that's something that you're working on. The idea about doing 5 to 6 times a week of what sounds like pretty intense training, way too much at this stage, too much for general fat loss anyway. Trying to be vegan, being vegan to reduce calories. Personally, I think there's much better ways of doing it. You know, you've got 1,900 to 2,000 calories a day that you said you're taking in. I would say that, you know, if you're vegan at 1,900 to 2,000 calories, I would question what your protein intake is. And, you know, protein is super important, particularly when somebody's going through a period of stress, and obviously for fat loss as well. I have notoriously seen, in fact, at the moment we've got 2 girls in our Chase Life program. One is a vegan, one is a vegetarian. Both of them have IBS. Since I'm forcing them to eat meat, funnily enough, the IBS has improved. So I would definitely say, you know, vegan and vegetarian diets, like, there is certainly, and I will speak from personal experience here, there is absolutely no way that I could manage my IBS being vegan or vegetarian. Absolutely no way. It would probably be the worst thing for my IBS. So Suzy, if you haven't already, do go onto my blog, athleticfox.com, and find an article that I wrote on there on my IBS and how I manage it. A lot of it has to do with, you know, using a FODMAP diet. So, and also slightly reducing the fiber in my diet, which kind of goes against the growing. So there are a few tips and things on there that you might find, but, you know, if you're purely going vegan to reduce your calories, there are much better ways of doing it. Some of the things that you said here, that you had a thyroid test last year and it was on the lower end of normal. I'm not bloody surprised. You know, I'm not surprised that I could have probably looked at your profile and seen that, okay, so this person has got low thyroid, they probably got high cortisol levels in the evening as well. I'm not surprised, and that is due to stress, which you have acknowledged. And my final point is, you said, I'm trying to, you do this restrictive eating, and I'm trying to resolve this through meditation and counselling and working on why I want to eat. So stop making food the focus, because if I say to you, don't think of a black cat, what are you thinking of? A black cat. So now you're sitting there thinking, okay, don't think of food, don't think of food, don't think of food. Well, that's your black cat. It's always going to be there. So what else do you want instead of? So my advice to you, like Ben said, get yourself into a settled position. mentally, create some certainty in your life in other areas, which will then in turn create confidence. I think with you, you need to trust in the process. I think once you start to reduce the stress, your body composition will change anyway. I would definitely look at your diet. I don't think vegan, I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I would suggest perhaps that be just curious to know that if that is actually really serving you or not, and you will know deep down whether that is true or not. And what else do you like to do? Find some fun stuff that you can add into your life. So rather than being restrictive and taking things away and making food be the focus and be always being your black cat, what else is it that you love to do? And go down that path, and that is how you transform your body at the end of the day.
Yeah, you picked up on it, the thyroid thing, there's going to be a lot of stress there. I think the other note that I'd written before I even started this podcast is that every problem that we all have, quite often, the rate at which we will progress will be the rate or the level of honesty we're willing to have with ourselves.
Yes.
If we're willing to be brutally honest, we will make infinite progress. If we want to dress things up, roll the shit in glitter, and try and hope that it is not the way that it is, then we will always hold ourselves back. And remember, being really honest is fucking painful. I get it.
Yeah,
and I get
We've all been there, right?
But remember, we're not sharing this stuff with the world. It's not a Facebook update. The whole world does not have to know about it. It's about you. It's about drawing in the support of the people around you and the people that it matters most. And just being honest with people and saying, look, this is a change that I need to make for me. And it's going to serve me well. And I need to do this for my future health and happiness. And, there's lots of things going on here that I could read into, like, why did you move? Why did you break up the boyfriend? Why did you start a new job? Like, is there a consistent pattern of not being happy in your environment, struggling to find out what makes you tick? All the training that you do is aggressive. Like, none of it is kind of just a little bit more chilled out. It's all circuit spin and body combat, which is very punishing to the body when done all of the time. So there's just a lot going on here, and I'm not going to read into any more of it. And all I'll say is we'll end the podcast on this note. We were going to do another question, but we've run out of time. The more honest we're willing to be with ourselves, the more progress we can make as people. And it is as simple as that. As soon as we start to lie,
100%,
we create the incorrect journey. A to B has to look really clear for ourselves. And as soon as we lie to ourselves, that journey from A to B is no longer clear, because it's being pulled in different directions, and it's always the way that we are processing things and the way that we are thinking and contextualizing things.
Spoken like a true pro, and I think we've both been there.
We have, and me and Rachel are not sitting here as perfect people. We're all adults. We all have things that we have to work through and be honest with ourselves. And me and Rachel were talking about some personal things that we're doing with ourselves at the moment, and it's a case of us being honest with ourselves. And then me and Rachel were chatting with each other between us, because we trust each other's opinion and stuff. So it's the more willing and the more open you're willing to be with yourselves, the more progress you will make. It's as simple as that.
Awesome.
And it's fucked up and it fucking hurts. I get all that, but you have to do it. It's just what you have to do to progress. It's simple as that. Right,
Indeed.
Let's end the show on that beautiful bombshell. Rachel, thanks again for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of Dubai. All you beautiful people that are listening, have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing. For anyone that is going to buy the book, or any personal trainers out there, don't think about buying the book. Buy the book. Trust me, this tiny investment is going to help you absolutely leaps and bounds in your job. We mentioned previously the Body Type Nutrition Business Academy is launching in December. If you're a personal trainer and want to get on board with developing yourself and your business, check out the Business Academy. There'll be loads of stuff going up on Facebook and around at the moment. Click on the links, explore things. Otherwise, I will be back on the show next week with a guest. Who he is, I don't know. But we will get there. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next week. Rachel, goodbye. Everyone else,
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 233, 23, 30, fuck it, I don't know, who cares? Anyway,